जल्दी करना है म्यूजिक प्ले चाहिए
सावधान
Let me just try from my phone.
Yeah, problem. Because I have to use my SIM for live stream, so
You need Wi-Fi?
yeah,
Yeah, I can connect you.
because the reason I'm using my mobile phone. Left or right? Yeah, thanks for that. Because I can connect it as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for as well. You know, usually in these setups,
They used to have like an audio system.
so this is the one that my ex
Yeah, but they don't have any.
It's the power. Yeah, these are university.
There is a K program. No, that's a wireless. No, this is
You can
different.
connect with the main computer as well, right?
Yes, that's also possible. This is coming. Where the music coming from?
Music's coming from that one.
What are they actually setting up there? Are they setting up something?
So this is where the Swamyji will be sitting.
I'm trying to hide it this.
Oh, yeah, close to Swamyji.
Okay.
जो चल रहा है लग रहा है कि इंडियन डिस्टर्बिंग
Okay, but for you to practice, yeah?
I'll give you this one. I also gonna have another
Okay.
Oh, are you using that one?
No, this is for them, for the camera.
Yeah, so,
This is work.
yes.
How do I turn this on and off?
It's
Already on?
Yeah, it's on. So you can mute it from here.
No, but it's not on.
Try speaking.
Check. Okay. Where do I put it? Is there a sweet spot?
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay. Let's try it.
Wherever is comfortable for you.
Check.
set it up for set.
Please be seated. Can everybody hear me? Check.
Well, Swamyji is going to be here in the next 5 minutes, so can I please request everyone to be seated? I already see that most of you are seated, but anyone coming from outside or anyone waiting at the door, if you can please be seated. Swamyji will be here in the next 5 minutes.
everyone. Jai Shri. Shrita. I'm an Year 11 student, a proud JET volunteer, and a Pregna student. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. We acknowledge and celebrate the continuing culture and contributions of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders to our community. It is a great pleasure and honor to welcome each one of you to our Youth Wellbeing event today. We are deeply honored to have among us His Holiness Sri 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 Tridandi Sriman Narayana Ramanja Chinna Jeeyar Swami, a beacon of compassion, wisdom, and divine service. His Holiness has dedicated his life to spiritual enlightenment, social welfare, and promoting harmony among communities. Through his Vedic teachings and humanitarian projects, he continues to uplift countless lives across the globe and guide youth toward a path of purpose, values, and inner strength. We are also privileged to welcome our esteemed chief guest, Honorable Enver Erdogan, MP Minister for Corrections and Minister for Youth Justice, whose dedication to justice, reform, and youth empowerment has made substantial positive changes in our community. We also welcome our distinguished panel members, Dr. Garish Nair, neurosurgeon at St. Vincent's Private Hospital, Werribee, Dr. Raju Yerra, neurologist at Royal Melbourne Hospital, Dr. Vani Pedi, general practitioner at Ballarat Doctors, Dr. Raju Adhikari, associate professor at RMIT University. A few housekeeping reminders before we begin. Please ensure mobile phones are turned to silent mode. Engage respectfully, listen actively, and participate thoughtfully. During the discussions, kindly wait for the microphone to reach you before speaking to ensure everyone can hear your valuable input. In case of an emergency, exits are located on my left, my right, and on the top. To locate the toilets, go left and then right. Before I welcome our awesome facilitator, may I seek permission from Adiane to play an AV about the amazing work His Holiness has contributed to the society.
This world is an extraordinary creation of divine design adorned with the beauty of nature, wherein various life forms coexist harmoniously, fulfilling their lifespans joyfully. Currently, however, such a world is facing numerous adversities. These adversities may result from national calamities, lack of awareness among individuals, or human greed. Consequently, human beings frequently slump to discouragement and despair. Moreover, the consequences of these disturbances are not limited to humans alone, but significantly impact other forms of life as well. Additionally, the common held belief that service to humanity is service to divinity has resulted in prioritizing human interests above all else, often leading to diminished attention towards other living beings. The pressing question arises whether reversing such actions is within the capacity of humanity or whether divine intervention itself is required. Indeed, such divine intervention has manifested in the form of Sri 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 Tridandi Jeeyar Swamyji, who propagate the concept of service to all living beings as a service to divine, Sarva Prani Seva as Madhava Seva. These teachings emphasize the importance of protecting nature, conserving water, and ensuring human life while maintaining equilibrium among all elements. This holistic vision forms the essence of Sri Swamyji's mission and his ongoing spiritual journey. This mission has been successfully ongoing for over 4 decades and has expanded globally, transcending national boundaries. Thousands of JET centers established across villages, towns, and remote corners of the world have provided numerous social and spiritual services to communities. Not limited to India alone, these efforts extend internationally where thousands of volunteers under the initiative Volunteer Together for Service actively participate in service-oriented programs. These volunteers wholeheartedly dedicate themselves to these activities. One notable example of such commitment includes initiatives in the village of Alampalli, once known as a hotspot for extremism. Approximately 20 years ago, Sri Swamyji visited this village and was profoundly moved by the plight of its residents. Responding with compassion, he established a quality educational offering, free boarding, nutritious meals, holistic education to the local children, thus significantly transforming their lives, and are now holding significant professional positions in various capacities. The institution has further expanded by initiating specialized coaching for civil service examinations. This place was once recognized as a stronghold of extremism activity, now aspires to produce IAS and IPS officers. The establishment of Netra Vidyalaya, School for the Visually Impaired, and Netra College demonstrates the institution's commitment to inclusive education. These institutions provide free education, nutritious meals, and comfortable accommodation. Through careful nurturing and guidance, the institution instills confidence and determination in these children, enabling them to excel in academics, sports, and the arts, empowering them to stand as equal among their peers. Inspired by Swamyji's vision from the early 2000s in Melbourne, we celebrate volunteering and compassion. Through initiatives like Pragya, we teach moral values, resilience, and humanity, nurturing tomorrow's leaders. During COVID, our volunteers supported hundreds with grocery kits and health awareness camps, fostering hope and wellness. Our environmental commitment through tree planting symbolizes sustainability and collective responsibility. Together, every act of kindness transforms life, leaving a lasting impact. With the divine blessings of Jeeyar Swamyji, let's continue to serve, inspire, and leave a legacy of positive change. Jai Shri Narayana.
To facilitate Swamyji. Today's event is a valuable opportunity to share, learn, and collaborate on strategies to enhance youth well-being. Thank you all for joining us and contributing your expertise and passion. Let us together ensure a brighter, healthier, and empowered future for our youth. Now I welcome our facilitator for today's event, Dr. Ritesh Chugh, Associate Professor at Central Queensland University, who brings an outstanding ability to foster engaging, insightful conversations and facilitate meaningful exchange of ideas. Welcome upon Ritesh ji.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Jeeyar. My name is Ritesh. Thank you so much. And I am glad to be here facilitating this panel. On the panel currently you see 4 empty chairs and there are 2 chairs for me. I asked for a separate color because I'm different. I needed a bigger chair, but they couldn't find a bigger chair for me. I think I'll have to shrink myself into that chair. Today's session is about well-being. And when we think about well-being, one of the things that I commonly notice people is they have their phone, and one of the things that everyone is doing is smiling. I'm not really sure whether they're internally happy when they're smiling for those photos. We tend didn't see that a lot. In fact, there seems to be a bit of confusion in everyone's mind because there is a lot of distress. Because there are so many things that are happening in our life. I was running late for the event, but I was not late. I was here 15 minutes prior to my promised time because I finished work at 6 and there was an event that I had there. And when I was running, I was glad I found someone to help me because otherwise I would have relied on Google Maps and I would have still gotten late. But during that time, I was stressed, anxious. So which means I'm not even really sure whether I was happy. I knew I had to get here, but now I'm happy. Because I made it on time. I've got a job to do. Well, not a job, sorry, wrong word. But I've got a task to fulfill. So there's confusion in everyone's mind. We spend a lot of time mindlessly scrolling through social media. And today, we will probably get a 360-degree view from our panelists in terms of how to focus on well-being. Because there is a difference between being happy and focusing on well-being. Maybe happiness leads to well-being, I'm not sure, I'm not an expert, but even the panelists answer that. Because in the panelists today, we've got focus on medicine, we've got focus on academic research, we've got focus on public service, and obviously spirituality through Swamyji. Now, if you're trying to reflect, I really want you to spend 30 seconds, and 30 seconds is not a lot of time. I want you to spend 30 seconds thinking about your most happy moment. Please close your eyes and think about your most happy moment for 30 seconds. I really want you to go to that place. So please close your eyes and think about your most happy place. Please close your eyes. Think about your most happy place. You've now gone into that place. Please keep your eyes closed. You're there, you've gone to that place, you're enjoying, but all of a sudden, someone comes and wakes you up. Open your eyes. So when someone wakes you up, there is a problem. Because you got distracted, you got moved away from that happy place. So when we focus on our well-being, we know, I was talking to a dietitian the other day, and unfortunately I'm on blood pressure medication. And he said to me, Ritesh, you can probably stop taking this medication because I can guide you through something called naturopathy. So he started guiding me on different aspects, which means now natural remedies can also help. Although I've not been a big believer of natural remedies, to be honest, that's my honest opinion. But then, when you speak to specialists who say that natural remedies can also help, well, who am I to question them? Particularly when you show me research. I'm a researcher. So if someone gives me evidence, I blindly follow evidence. Because there is no questioning evidence. Because when someone publishes research, they've gone and done extensive study to come up with that conclusion that says, for example, ginger may help with your blood pressure. I'm not sure. I just made it up. But please don't go and try ginger because I'm not really sure. I made that up. I literally made it up. So now, coming back to the event, I will invite 4 panelists here tonight. Now, usually what happens in panels is people will say, hold on questions to the end. That's what happens usually. But when I'm in class teaching, I say to my students, or really not my students, but I'm telling you what I do. I say, ask questions when you have questions. Because otherwise what happens is, if he's got a question, and Ritesh said a question only in the end, he will keep thinking about that question only because it will start bothering him. Because then what happens, from that point onwards, he'll only be thinking about his question, not focusing on what is happening in the room. That's why, if you have questions, all you have to do is raise your hand, I will come to you, and we will respond. And we will kill the question on the spot. Sorry, not kill. We'll make sure that you get an answer. Because otherwise, you keep thinking of that question, you'll dwell on it, and then we tend to forget also. And you don't have notepads? Well, you do. You've got phones in your hand. So, we've got, I'm going to invite the panelists to the front. I've got 4 chairs here, the blue ones for me. So, firstly, can I please invite Dr. Raju Adhikari, Associate Professor at RMIT University and a Sustainability Researcher. Next, can I please invite Dr. Raju Jeeyar, neurologist at the Royal Melbourne Hospital with experience in youth neurological. Now, look, I don't know, but we got both Dr. Rajus together, so I did not arrange that. It just happened. So I'm going to call you Raju 1 and Raju 2. But look, that was jokes aside. Dr. Jeeyar, who is a specialist in functional neurosurgery and brain stimulation. And Dr. Bani Peddy, who is a general practitioner at Pelham St with extensive experience in youth and community health. So it is my privilege to moderate today's conversation, which I'm sure will be reflective. It will be practical and inspiring. Practical because we are going to get different viewpoints from these esteemed panel. I see expertise in neurological health. I see expertise in sustainability research. I see expertise in brain stimulation. Sorry, I'm skipping the neurosurgery part. I'm just focusing on brain stimulation because I think that has an important role to play. I don't want to steal your thunder, I definitely don't want to do that, but let me just be a researcher. I'll show you an example about brain stimulation. Do you see any red dots on my phone?
Not bots as such, but a lot of ready-made.
There are apps, but no red dots. Because usually when you get a message, you get a red dot. Now if I open my app, I'm opening LinkedIn. At the top here, sorry. You saw my red dots coming, my notifications? Red dots? Those red dots are meant to introduce a dopamine-like effect, which encourages you to open your phone and check. I have mine off because I know how bit of brain stimulation. I don't know the internal working, but I understand it from a neurological point of what that red dot does. So why do I have it turned off? Why do I have all those red dots turned off? Because every time I open an app, there will be messages. Swami, I'll open WhatsApp. You see some messages? Nothing outside. We all know the moment we see that red dot, we want to open our phone, right? And then once we open our phone, we get distracted because 5 minutes become 10, 10 become 15, 15 become 20, and then time just disappears. So my dots are off. It's a pull system for me, not a push system, which means I don't want to, be attracted towards that. You have to find a way of doing it. Sorry, we were talking brain stimulation, I forgot, right? But I wrote an article about a concept called e-fasting, in which I wrote about these things. So in the conversation, which is a reputed Australian publication, I wrote about e-fasting, and this is one of the techniques of e-fasting. So we've got brain stimulation. We have Dr. Bani, who has extensive experience in youth and community health. Dr. Bani, today's session is about youth well-being. I'm not sure whether it should really be youth well-being. I struggle with my own well-being. I'm going to keep for the last 2 weeks at least, and Rakesh Rajadari was here just before Swamyji came. I said to him, Rakesh, he's just been so busy, so many things happening, but who can I blame? Sometimes I don't know how to handle it. Well, that doesn't mean I'm not keeping all the balls juggling. I'm keeping all the balls juggling. So coming back to the point, it's not just a youth issue. I think it's an issue for everyone. What do we do with our well-being? Sometimes I go and talk to the doctor says, you should do meditation. Sorry, I'm not sure. Meditation, how is it going to help me? So, we'll see what happens. Because possibly Swamyji might say, do meditation, meditation might help you. Might not. So we'll let Swamyji tell us. So Swamyji will tell me what is going to help me. So together I think we're going to explore from the cellular to the spiritual. So with that, I'm going to take my seat and I'm going to ask questions from each of you. You've got a microphone. There's a mic here. If the two of you can share the mic, Swamyji got a little mic. If you can give the two panelists here a mic, so there's a microphone for Raju. Yes, sir.
I think we're not sure whether Chinna would make it in time. So there's a senior psychiatrist, and then we're going to
This guy, you already having head.
So if you can organize, sure. Please, I mean, it's good. Very important for mental health care. Just don't take my chair. Don't take my chair. Sir, blue chair is mine. You're not allowed to take that chair. You can take any other chair, but not having blue problem. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Look, it's not about the blue chair, it's only about me sitting here, so I can actually see everyone. Because if I sit there, then I can't see everyone. So it's only about sitting in the corner. Sorry, it wasn't about the color of the chair. Thank you. Doctor. So that's better we have psychiatrists as well, because I already linked to psychiatric well-being. Perfect. So we've got microphones, we've got mics, the three of you will be sharing one, we've got that you will share with each other. This mic doesn't seem to be working funnily, if you can please check. Okay. So the mic is working. Hello.
How are you?
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
I understand you have made time from the Parliament, and Minister, I also understand that you are in a bit of a rush.
Yes, because we've had a busy sitting week, and last night, in fact, Parliament, the Upper House in Victoria, was sitting till 4 a.m. So I'm also on 2 hours sleep as well, but we are committed. We had the anti-filification debate.
Round of applause for the Honourable Enver Erdogan. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but one thing I must comment when you said you had 2 hours of sleep. The reason I must comment you is we are the public who vote for you, right? We vote for you, and we appreciate that you're giving time for us. And we're sorry that you only got 2 hours of sleep, but I'm sure come election time, we will all be supporting you.
No, thank you. But I would have missed this in the world. I was really looking forward to it when I was informed about Swamyji's visit to Australia, and I understand how important he is to so many people in the Indian community in Victoria. And so it doesn't matter whether sleep or no sleep. And I have another event to attend. I said I have to come and see all of you. So
thank you so much. So a round of applause for the Minister of Youth Justice and a passionate advocate for youth well-being. And because you're short of time, is what I've been told, and I think you have to head back. Before I start my panel talk, I did introduce the panel members. I will let you address the audience, and I'm sure Swamyji would like to hear from you as well. And before you go, we'll take a photo with Swamyji, and I think I'm going to pass the mic to you if you would like to stand and address everyone, so we don't hold you for too long, because I understand you have a tight schedule. So thank you so much for your time. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for your generous warm welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Edward Erdogan. I'm one of the Upper House members for North Metropolitan, but also the Minister for Corrections, Youth Justice, and also for Casino and Gaming in the Victorian Labor Government. My staff prepared a nice, generous, pre-prepared speech, but I always like speaking from the heart. I think it's also always more meaningful. So namaskar. I hope everyone has a good evening, good afternoon and good evening today. I understand that today's purpose is to welcome our Swamyji, who's come all the way from India to be with us, to share his wisdom, which is so vital, especially during these difficult times and so much change and so many distractions in our lives. It is important that we do give great attention to our own well-being. But also, I do want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet today, the Aboriginal people. And I acknowledge them because they're the indigenous people of this land. But I do that in paying my respects to the elders, but paying respects to your community's elders. Because our community elders, especially from multicultural communities, they are the source, to be honest, of a lot of, if I'm successful, my success is because my parents and my uncles, my aunties, all the members of our community were able to raise me. It does take a village to raise a young person. It's spiritual leaders, it's community leaders that all have a role in our success. I don't take it for granted. Myself, my parents are in fact Kurds from Turkey. They came here many years ago. But like your community, they came here, obviously a lot of new challenges, adjusting to a new country. Obviously, the biggest challenge, in fact, I might say, is passing on the language and culture in a new country. And I try my best to speak Kurdish with my daughters, but I can say it's a challenge, it's a work in progress. But I think to preserve that culture in a new country is really vital. It's vital because I know it's a youth justice, and I see the kids where their families are engaged, they're the kids that are successful. That's true. And when I say engaged, that doesn't mean just going to class. It's much more. It's actually being involved in family life, having those family connections. Remove yourself from the distractions. And my family are very big on that. Those through dinner time, for example. I mean, when I look back now, I say I'm trying to enforce on my young daughters. It's not easy, much harder today, but it's important because that's the time where the parents and the children can kind of share their day, what's occurred, the challenges, the ups and downs. And I think that will lead to a happier life, a more successful life. And I think the spiritual leaders and community leaders have an important role in kind of passing the baton on to the next generation. I've seen the in Victoria, 300,000 youths now call home. And one of the facts of this is that in my system, that I run the prison system, we have 15 public prisons across Victoria, Indian communities underrepresented in the criminal justice system, underrepresented in the youth justice system, underrepresented in corrections as a whole. And that shows that the Indian community has strong leaders, has strong educational foundations, has strong spiritual leaders that are able to guide the community through these tough times. And for me, that's a source of pride, because other communities don't have that same journey or the same outcomes. And that shows the strength of your community. It shows the strength of your community elders that have passed on that knowledge, that work ethic, that resilience to succeed in that ever-changing world. So it's a real honour to be here today. I just want to share how thankful we are to have you here. I know your contribution to millions of people. Millions is probably an understatement. Tens of millions, probably more accurate. Or hundreds of millions. Globally, you've impacted so many people positively. I was reading about you earlier today in preparation to come here and join you for today's event. I just want to say to all the young people, you are the future. You're the light of this community. You really are. You set an example for everyone. And you set the standards for all Australians as well. I see that in the community. My daughter has a lot of young Indian friends as well. I see the community educated, they're very ambitious, and that's important. It's not about ambitious in terms of material well-being. I think I've got to make that point as well. It's not about material ambition. It's about ambition to succeed in terms of giving back. Just like the Jet Foundation, and I want to thank everyone involved in the Jet Foundation. I was really blown away by the amount of contributions you're making in terms of your contribution back to the Victorian community. I wasn't aware of all the fundraising efforts for the Cancer Council, contributions to bushfire victims, to so many natural disasters that the Jet Foundation has played a role. And so when I say about being ambitious and successful, that's not about money. That's about successful in terms of being a good person, respecting others, the values that Swamyji teaches, sharing that with other Victorians, other Australians. So on behalf of the Victorian government, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. It's a real honour to join you today. I know this has been short because I was looking forward to the panel, but I'm required back at Parliament after this event. But it's been a pleasure to join you all today. Thank you for having me.
When you started your speech, you had a speech written, and you said, but written speech where I really need it because that shows you're confident of what you were talking. And I'm glad you talked about the right things. There's one thing that I'd like to ask you, because you focused as a minister who deals with the needs of young people. There's just one question I'd like to ask you is how is well-being understood at a policy level when addressing the needs of young people?
I think definitely in the past, well-being is a different concept, and it's an an issue that, I mean, for a lot of people, especially in the West, it's evolving, because I know Hindu faith, and I want to also thank the Hindu Council, because obviously there are a small number of people with Hindu background in our correction systems, and for the first time ever we've had the Hindu Council, and we've had celebrations for Holi, for example. Last year was the first year we were able to celebrate it, to help people kind of change their ways. But I think wellbeing is an area that's still evolving in what people view it as, and that's why I was trying to differentiate. When I say success, success is not about money, it's about how you feel, how you contribute, how you're part of something bigger. And this universe is bigger than just the individual. So I think wellbeing is an issue that in the West could be, I think there's definitely, there needs to be a greater effort to raise awareness about it. I'm not sure how well it is understood. I know some people have a grasp, but it's an evolving issue. But I do understand that Hinduism, and I know Swamyji's is much deeper and much more based on nature, and I think people are becoming more aware of that perspective. And we're seeing that. I mean, people's previous beliefs around well-being were more, you need to attend school, you need to work, so you must be well. But it's more than that. It's more about how are you spiritual, how's your soul feel. And I mean, that is something that's still, I don't think it's well understood, to be frank, in the West, but it's an issue that I think through forums like this, through educating the public, we can raise awareness, and then we will see better results for young people.
Thank you so much. One of the things that we hope that our parliamentarians do for us, you've spoken so highly about Jet organisation, which we really appreciate. One of the things that we hope that our parliamentarian friends do for us is advocate for us. It might not fall under your portfolio because, I mean, we didn't tell you that we donated nearly $400,000 of food during COVID. Now that is a lot. Gathering it from our community, helping the underprivileged at the time, and it takes a lot of effort on our part. So I think I'm just going to leave you with a very small request. Wherever you have the opportunity, please canvass, be our advocate at all levels of your government and with other friends as well. So thank you so much for your time. Swamyji would like to felicitate you with a small gift. And we really appreciate your time, and I'm sure you've got a busy night ahead. But thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, everyone.
Archit, the office manager for Envo. Archit Agarwal.
Okay.
He also get to do that.
Okay.
Archit.
I want to thank Archit as well, because Archit's actually a student at Melbourne University. I met him, and Archit, Agarwal, say hello. But hello. Don't be shy. So Archit's also been. He's a student at university, like many of you. Came as an international student to Australia, studied at Melbourne University, very active, and he's really done a good job, I think, within government, educating people on Hinduism, the spirituality, the importance of it to, I guess, people's well-being, especially when you're adjusting in a new country. So thank you, Archie, for educating me. So my educator, on these matters. Thank you very much.
So let's get back to business. We are here to talk about well-being. Faniji is looking at me. Faniji, I'm mindful of the time, 8:20. So Ritesh, you have to leave the stage at 8:20. Don't look at your watch. We still have half an hour. So, all right, let's get started now. Rajuji, how would you distinguish from happy and healthy? What is your understanding of the difference between being happy and being healthy?
Well, thank you, Jesse, and thanks everyone for being here. And good to be here and be. Your question, I'll go a little bit to step backward to say a few things which will explain.
But you can't hear my question. My question was.
Yes, it'll come at the end. It'll come at the end. I think when you talk about the mental health and happiness or healthiness, it's not one single event. It's a cascade of events. I can tell you, it starts with the emotions first, then you go to the stress, then to anxiety, what's that? Then to depression, then to psychotic disorder. It's a chain of reaction. And the fundamental of all this, before you become mentally ill, at the end, the foundation of all these cascades of events is the emotional well-being. But unfortunately, we have overlooked emotional well-being completely. In the modern world today, in the way we are treated for the mental health, we only worry when there is an anxiety. We are not even worrying about stress. Anxiety is where you have nothing in your control. And you can't control your brain, you can't think, you can't really manipulate things in your own way. And then, there are governments which are providing mental health training. The training works only when you are up to the stage of anxiety. After you reach to next to the depression, and then further forward, you are in the hands of psychologists and psychiatrists. And most importantly, these emotions, which is the fundamental block of the emotional well-being, is controlled by brain chemicals. We always say in our Indian culture, Hindu culture, our emotion is here in the heart. It's nothing to do with the heart. It's all with the brain chemicals. There are 4 different types of chemicals: serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins, which control your mood, your pleasure, your emotions, and your feeling good factors. And these brain chemicals have no discrimination. In both gender, male and female, they are produced same way. But the sex hormone interferes with these things. And you can look at it, the gender specific, the females have got estrogen hormones, the male has testosterone. And the mental health, according to the science, based so far, the children below 13 years have no mental issues. It's only from the age of 13 you start having mental health problems. The depression, stress and anxiety sort of things. So when there's no discrimination between these chemicals, between the genders, but when you go to different stages of your life, from being adolescents to adults, you do different things. For example, the females, they do childbearing,
Rajuji,
the menstruation, they
Rajuji,
do postmenopause.
I think yep.
Yeah. So these chemicals and sex hormones, you got to understand. The science has gone beyond to understand these, to doing a lot of neurological imaging. There is a digital therapeutics. There is a virtual simulation test. So they are now going beyond to look at into a mapping how your neurons' electrical activity is linked and releasing these chemicals in context to the sex hormones. So this is a new findings they're trying to understand, going beyond, and they do it through a functional MRI and a lot of other EEG tests. Nowadays, scientists are going beyond to understand the mapping of neuron to your emotion. And most importantly, the brain is not here nowadays. The brain is here in your guts. There are trillions of bacteria in your guts, billions of neurons in the brain. They are interconnected. Food is mood. Food is emotion. There are a lot of understanding of science which is trying to link how your emotion, which is the very fundamental of the whole mental health, is being understood in a different context through the help of science. And you asked a very important question, emotional well-being, and the minister, I didn't think he replied very well. In my definition of emotional well-being and being happy, or is that every day when you wake up in the morning, how you feel. When you go to the office, do you feel a sense of accomplishment? When you come home, are you able to interact with your family? And if there is a bad news on the same day, are you able to handle that? So a sense of accomplishment is being emotionally stable, being emotionally well-being. So this is very complex issue. Science is going beyond understanding the neurological neurons versus the prevalence of bacteria and understanding the emotion in a very specific perspective. And by the way, we have published a book on emotional well-being, the first book. It will be launched in Amazon.com. And it's a great honor for me to say that Emotional Wellbeing Institute, which I represent in Geneva, we had organized the second international conference in Kerala, Swamyji, and the third international conference will be done in Kathmandu in 2026, and you are kindly invited as an honorable speaker. And all of our panel members and participants, you are kindly invited to the third international Emotional Wellbeing Conference in Kathmandu to be held in 2026. With that note, I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Rajuji. If you can give the mic to Dr. Jeeyar. Dr. Jeeyar, I have a question. Dr. says that well-being doesn't impact children who are under 17. Is that clear? Would you agree with that statement?
I must admit, I'm not sure how quality.
Answer that question. I feel like an imposter sitting along with this Holiness Swamyji here. A rich man doesn't make an intelligent man, and a rich man doesn't make an intelligent man. I know how the brain works. I know if somebody's arm doesn't move or leg doesn't move, can't see, I can explain it very well as a neurologist. I'm very thankfully, by the grace of God, I'm well educated in that area. When it comes to spirituality, I'm a student. Today's my mission was being here is to hear from Swamyji's words and learn a few things. Coming to your question at hand, so probably Harish might be in a better position to answer that. So I will leave it to the person who knows about it.
Okay, sure. Harish, if you could, there's a mic somewhere. If you could answer that question, because I just want to clarify, just so our audience, if that needs a bit of a clarification.
The question is if...
do under 13s face well-being issues or not?
See, that question is quite hard. Depends on which culture you're talking, which geography, and all of those multiple factors. See, I grew up in India, so I never had any issues. Like I've never seen any of, before 13, any of our friends having major psychological difficulties and other things. But as a doctor, I worked in England for about 2 decades. I worked here five years or so. I do see people who are below age of 13, and most of the people who are adults explaining to me the difficulties they faced as children. But again, I work with very unwell people. But I do agree with Rajuji when he does say it's not a common thing. Like per se, if you're looking at population as a whole, it might be very, very few people are like emotionally or mentally affected before 13. Yes, as they become adults, their emotions becomes more advanced or more complex, and people, we call it as cognitions. The cognitions become more evolved and they start. Sorry, it's not working. I'm speaking quite, yeah, I'll keep it. So what we call as the cognitions, we call cognitions, this is like connected to emotions. They become more evolved, and people start worrying or like having what we call as negative cognition or cognitive distortions. And it's more of an adult thing, hence we see emergence of common conditions like anxiety, depression, these things roughly around about 14, 15 onwards, more common in the current, Australia specifically. Yes, it becomes more when people start challenging their cognition or kind of not challenging their cognition, in fact. So, yes, there are various other conditions which affect children from a younger age. Per se, there are things like neurodevelopmental disorders. We are talking about things like ADHD, autism. Discrimination happens when people have these problems, or various other discriminations. These children do get affected by emotionally, and that can lead to almost clinical conditions like anxiety and depression, trauma. These things are there, but yes, it's much more in a slightly older population after 13, 14. Early teens, it's a bit less. But partly I agree, partly there are a lot of conditions. So.
Okay, thank you. Is there any under 13 in the room? Anyone under 13? I see a few hands. All right. How many times have you heard your parents use the word stress? Come on, don't be shy. Under 13s, hands up, please. I'm coming to you. So make sure I see your hands. I need to see your hands up in the air. Under 13s, please, hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to come to you. Have you heard your parents talk about stress or even use the word?
Yes.
Yes. Do you ever feel stressed?
Yes.
What do you feel stressed about?
It depends.
Round of applause. She said she feels stressed about Indian parents. Oh, sorry, I heard Indian parents because my daughter, sorry, my apologies, I was dropping my daughter to school this morning and I said to her, so she's got a SAC exam, and I said to her, so what time's your SAC exam? She goes, I told you last week. I'm like, I just asked you a question, just respond what time it is because I don't remember. So it seems like Indian parents seem to be the problem. But anyway, so it depends. But I need an answer. If I had an exam and if you wrote, the question was, what do you feel stressed about? And if you wrote, it depends, I'm not going to give you any marks. So the question still stands. Let's think.
Probably like school.
Stressed about school, my God, I feel stressed about school too when I think about school. What do you, do you feel stressed?
Yes.
About?
Completing assignments on time.
It seems study is the problem. So as educators, we all should be doing something so that we can elevate the stress because education seems to be the problem. I mean, so maybe Indian parents keep pushing their parents to study. Parents, message for you. So Dr. Vani, I have a question for you. Young people, as you see, face challenges. Those challenges here are related to education. From what I hear, they also are challenged with the problem of digital overload. Because when I talk to my daughter, I know she spends time on TikTok, teenage daughter, but the other day she goes to me, I get all my news from TikTok. Because whenever I talk to her about what's happening in the world, she seems to know about everything. So I say, well, how do you know? She goes, TikTok videos. But that's her, that's her mechanism. Maybe the world has changed, and I know the world has definitely changed because we've all come to short form media consumption. Short form means, imagine you have to watch a YouTube video that is 30 minutes as opposed to watching something that is 3 minutes, as opposed to watching something that is 90 seconds, as opposed to watching something that is 30 seconds. We all enjoy the 30-second consumption rather than the 30-minute consumption. So, what do you see as the most pressing threats to youth well-being that you often hear about?
Yeah, Holiness, thanks for giving me this opportunity. The digital media has always like pros and cons. So the pros is they are up to date with the information, but if the limit is crossed, like if you cross the limit or you have no boundaries or no limitations, and because it releases that happy hormones like endorphins, like when you watch the big video into a short video, you feel happy. And this happiness continues and they get into a chain of, like it's called addiction. So you can't come out of that. So that is where the problem, where there is no limitation, where they don't know. Someone has to point out where they can stop. So this guidance is the biggest thing. And in this teenager, in this group, I think we don't have that control. So it's hard to say where to put full stop, where to continue. But definitely, there is always a positive that they are up to date with the current affairs. But at the same time, if they are going in a wrong pathway, that is where the parents, the elders, that is where we need, that is where again it comes from the well-being, spiritual, the way you raise from the family, the holistic approach. All these are involved. Like we can't say just one factor is covering the youth. It is a multifactorial. Like there is no straight path to say, yes, it's bad or it's good. Bad in a sense, the way they use.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. So it seems the problem is not just for children. It's for everyone. How many of you look at your parents spending time on their phone and you're like, well, if my parents can do it, I can do it too. Hands up in the air. See, everyone, almost everyone, because we set the example, right? We set the example. So there is a problem then with parents as well. I mean, sometimes me and wife, we decide that we're going to leave the phone outside our room. So we've actually done that a few times. But then I think the pull of digital media is so strong these days that we often are even fearful, and I use fearful, of seeing how much time we spend on social media. You can all check how much time you spend on social media? Yes, you know that? At least I'm sure the younger generation here knows how to check. How many of you know how to check on your phone how much time you spend on different apps? So do you go and check regularly? Those of you who know, do you check regularly? No, why not?
Scared.
You're scared, of course, because it's basically a wake-up call. Every time you look at it, you'll be like, what the hell? Sorry, I spent 2.5 hours on Instagram every week, or YouTube, or whatever, TikTok, Snapchat. But my question now to Dr. Nair, who is a specialist in functional neurosurgery and brain stimulation. Dr. Nair, what is the effect of all of this on sleep in youth? And do you think something needs to be done about it? Is it necessary? Is it a problem? What's your opinion on that?
Swamyji, namaste. Thank you for coming down. And it's a privilege to sit next to you. Thank you very much. And thank you for Dr. Vani for the invitation. There is no straight answer to that. In fact, I'll point you to another 30-second short video I saw online, which is the Jnana I'll serve here, which is that there was once a question asked of an eminent neurologist as to if there was one thing that anyone should have among food, water, air, anything else for mental and physical well-being, what would be the one thing that helps the most? The answer was sleep. And that is how valuable sleep is. Because sleep is when you recoup, sleep is when you recharge. And the issue nowadays is because of this excessive stimulation that happens, because of this constant social media use or digital media use, and we are constantly being stimulated. And when that happens, it is hard to turn off. And so your brain, even when you're going to sleep or trying to go to sleep, is buzzing. And a buzzing brain does not go to rest quite easy. And in fact, I know from speaking, you alluded earlier, Ritesh, that it is not a problem that is for the youth alone, which is so true. As we get old, it is no secret that people say you don't need much sleep, which is not entirely true. But if you, and I don't know how many of us in the audience would agree that when you wake up in the middle of the night for whatever reason, I know of a significant number of people, the first thing you would do is reach for your phone. And you're not looking to see what time it is or to see as to, oh, should I go back to sleep? At the same time, next thing you do is watch the red dots. And then you flick on those red dots. And suddenly you open your WhatsApp. And then that will be from your WhatsApp group from back in India, from your college friends. And then, it's a cascade. So it is a big factor. Sleep is very important. And to be able to control the stimulation that happens to your brain before you go to sleep is vital for having a good sleep. And that then translates not only into having a good rest, a recharge for your brain, but then you wake up as this happy person next day, charged up, ready to face the challenges of the world. And it is vital to let your brain reboot for your mental well-being. And the youth of today, for me, I work as a neurosurgeon, and my average day is one where I spend hours in an operating theater in a stressful environment, dealing with stressful situations, working with a team of people, with many factors playing on your mind. Is it my training that lets me handle that? Probably a small percentage of it. But what lets me handle that is building that mental strength. Because when you're dealing with situations like this, and I guess comparing to a surgery on the brain is not a fair comparison, but for most of us during life, you constantly get thrown curveballs, and you cannot be prepared for every situation. So building up that mental resilience by maintaining your mental well-being is what helps you handle those situations. And that is what the youth of today need to build up, and that is where spirituality comes in. Because brain is a structure which is an organ which processes information, handles all the hormones and all of those things. But mental health, to me, is a matter of the mind. And the difference between the brain and the mind has been a situation of constant debate between scientists and psychologists. But the functions are entirely different. And I think mental health, and Harish may or may not agree with this, but to me, mental health and mental well-being is a function of the mind. And that is where spirituality helps control the mind, helps us develop skills and resilience that lets us handle all of this. Sorry, I digressed a bit from your question.
That was a wonderful response. I was lost in your response. So I will give credit to you, because usually, when you get engrossed in what a person is saying and you get lost, so credit to you on that response. Well done. I did notice you talked about getting old. You used those words. Remember, you said, when we get old. You remember those words?
Unstoppable, that happens.
Okay. Well, and I'm not joking. I'm seriously not joking. This morning, I was taking a shower. And when I got out of the shower, I said, today I'm going to see Swamyji. And the first thing that came to my mind, Swamyji, seriously, I'm telling you. I was like, Swamyji has never aged. And every time I see him, he looks the same. So Swamyji, there has to be some secret. We'll come to that secret in a bit, because there is something happening which we don't know. Obviously, it's spirituality, so Swamyji can tell us about it. But I was seriously thinking on those lines. So we'll ask you that secret a bit later. But how many of you are international students here? Any international students? There was an international student right in the last row. Sir, can you please stand up? Yeah, please stand up. Sir, when did you come to Australia, sir? He used to study with me, that's why and he says 1998. Sorry, I don't look that old. No. But anyway, so international students, how many of you, like seriously, raise your hands. I can see a 5-year-old international student, which I doubt, but there are a few international students. I came here as an international student, as many people in this room. How many of you came here as international students? Hands up in the air, please. So, there's quite a few. There's quite a few people in the room who came as international students. Reason I asked that question is because you were talking about building mental strength. When you come here as an international student, there's lots of struggles that people go through. My sister didn't come here as an international student, and I often tell her, I think life was easier for you because I was already here to guide her. Maybe she may disagree with me, but this is what I tell her, because I had my own curveballs to deal with. My basic curveball was initially, moving to a new country, where the first thing that you often do is cry in the bathroom because you're missing your parents. Right? You miss your parents? International students, that's the first thing that usually happens. I'm getting a bit teary-eyed just thinking of it. My parents live with me here, God bless them. But what happens next is you have to cook, which you've probably never done before, because someone was doing it for you. You have to clean. No one was doing that for you here. You have to do, someone was doing it back home. You have to commute. Some of us also have to pay fees. So we want to earn that money so we can reduce the stress of our parents. What else? Did I miss anything? What? Yes, good point. It depends on what age you came, so some will come who have children as well. Very good point. What else? Did I miss something? Moral support? Okay, parents, we talk parents. What else? No, but we also have to do something else. I was talking about the things that we have to do and deal with. What else? I talked cooking, I talked fees, I talked missing parents. Study. Most important thing. Study. My friend at the back might remember that when I was studying, I used to get Campus Director Award, and when I got my first award, I said to my dean at the time, I'll make sure I get the second one also, which I did. But in order to get that second award, I compromised on money because there were work shifts that I did not go to because I had assignments due. So, in other words, that's also something you need to handle. But all of that requires building mental health. That's why I say to my sister that you probably had it easier than I had because we went through that struggle. And look, let's be honest, we've heard lots of people talk in terms of when they're trying to motivate us saying, well, if you struggle, you'll become stronger. I was watching Shark Tank India the other day. And one of the one of the shark says to the contestant, saying, I wish you struggle. That's exactly what he said. His closing lines were, I wish you struggle. And the first thing I'm like, you're not being positive here. But if you reflect, it's not necessarily negative also, because struggle makes you stronger. With that, I'm going to go to my next question. I'll come to Raju too. So my question to you is, what neurological impacts do you think youth will be exposed to due to stress? So what impact will stress have on youth? And I think it's not just youth, it's everyone. Like I said at the start, I know the focus is on youth, but we've got a mixed audience, so I want to make sure everyone is involved. So for everyone's also good. Thank you.
Stress is undoubtedly one of the most important things a person has to learn to deal with, whichever means, spiritual, whatever means, but he has to deal with. To be successful in life, to lead a full life, to be happy, to be content. Little bit of stress adds to your performance, makes you a bit more alert. If you're not completely blasé about your exams, you're not going to perform as well if you are slightly stressed about it. So that you care about it, you work for it, you work extra hard, you worry about potential negative outcomes. And so a little bit of stress is good. But the stress, if it is too much, there are biochemical reasons that can explain that. Release of certain hormones that are detrimental to your health in several ways. But stress is an important thing, not just for neurological conditions. If a person's stress is managed, the outcomes of no matter what the condition is, whether it is a cancer for which we don't have any treatment, or a simple common complaint, 20% of women suffer from migraines, or any other problem, even a fracture healing or whatever, the healing takes place better, the conditions are better managed, and the outcomes are better if the stress is managed. So as a doctor, when I treat a patient, I just not treat their physical ailments, but I try and address their stress, how they are coping with it, the understanding of their condition, so they have a better understanding, they can deal with it better, and what kind of social supports they have. I ask them to, if somebody is not willing to see a psychologist, I ask them to go and see their priest, go their a neighbor, whoever that is, to get that extra moral strength to deal with these problems. So stress is a very, very important thing to manage, and then a small stress adds to your performance and your better outcomes, but bad stress leads to worse outcomes, no matter what the illness is, and whatever you are trying to achieve.
I think if you just pass the Dr. Raju, I just want you to tell me one practice, one small daily practice that can make a difference to a young person's well-being. One practice. Each one of you, please think of one practice. If the other person says it, obviously he'll have time to. So just one practice that people can adopt.
There's no one magic solution or one magic bullet. It's kind of a thing, but I think sleep in time, eat in time.
Sleep. That's it. Sleep. Only one.
Do exercise.
See, 3 now.
Every day.
You've all lost an opportunity. You've all lost an opportunity.
They all are linked anyway.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
My
you said sleep, right?
Yeah.
Sleep. No.
If
Sleep.
you can't, then ask the experts.
Yeah, sleep.
My suggestion would be to have an ambition, to want to make something out of yourself, want to achieve something. So to be educated, to make money. To make money is not because you want to be rich and flash your fancy car, to be able to help others, to want to run an ashram for people, or a school for the blind, or help a veterinary hospital, or do something. So have an ambition. Work towards that goal.
Thank you. You made a very important point. You talked about helping others in your statement. And for some reason, when I was thinking about my notes, I did write down here, and I'm reading. I'm not making it up. I wrote here, the best way to feel better is to help someone else. Because again, when you help someone, you will automatically feel better. You can try this. It could be helping your teacher at school, for children who go to school. It could be helping your colleague. It could be holding the door for someone who then says thank you to you. All of a sudden you'll be like, wow, thank you. Right? You will just feel that you were acknowledged. You will feel good about it. And look, goodness is something that you will have to derive from others also. Because all of us look for motivation, right? Everyone. He said, money is not, I'm rephrasing it, money is not a motivator at all stages of life, right? For youth, maybe they're focusing on money, but the motivation of money, and there is research behind it that says does not last for a long time. So then what happens is we all try and look for other motivators. So the other motivator could be giving our time for community causes, which again, it lifts us up, because we feel tonight when you all go home, you'll feel happy that I talked to 150 people and I was able to share my experiences with others. So it's about giving back. We all have to find ways of giving back. It's not always about giving money. Sometimes people will say, well, I'm going to give money. Look, we know we're trying to establish a temple. Tanit Road, right? 689 Tanit Road. How many of you take the time to come to the temple on a Sunday or a Saturday when there are other people who are cleaning? It's a big car park. Sometimes I go there and we're cleaning the garden. Can you take time out 1 hour? You will feel happy. Because when Satya sends a message out saying, well, can someone come to help? No one responds. But then see, if you're looking for happiness, you find ways of finding that happiness. He's not saying, come and give me money. Maybe he is asking for money as well, but I don't know. But you find ways of contributing, of helping. Yes, thank you. Dr. Nair, one thing, please.
For me, it's always been prayer.
Sorry?
Starting a day with a prayer.
Okay, good.
That's been I guess, I'm overstepping the mark with His Holiness's presence. But for me, as a mere mortal, I've not been able to make out the difference between prayer, belief, and spirituality. But for me, those few minutes that I spend in isolation, and you don't have to be a believer in a religion or whatever one thing you believe in, and that's your happy place. You send a prayer one way to some unseen being, but those few moments of solace that you find focusing on something, that's my happy place.
Thank you. I think it's very important, right? Prayer. Here we've got a round of applause as well, which obviously sees, it means that's something that resonated with everyone. Now, again, like children, if you try and think prayer, when you wake up or before you're going to school, or anyone for that matter, you're going out for work, you bow your head, you say your prayers, you come back in the evening, you say your prayers. At least that's what I tell my children. They do it. And sometimes I also give a reason for it. And when they go and open the temple in the morning, this morning, actually, I've been noticing it for 2 weeks. My son gets up, goes to uni before I get to work. So he will open the temple and he won't turn the lights on. So we've got a light in the temple. And this morning, so he'd gone. I sent him a text message saying, can you please turn the light on? Tonight, my message to him is going to be simple. I said, it's like when you wake up, you turn the light on. So it's about lightness. And I will give that message. So coming back to children here, and I don't want you to answer this question for me. Do not answer it. Do not say a prayer for anyone else. Say a prayer for you and say a prayer for someone you think needs that prayer. When you say a prayer for someone else, you will feel really good. Say a prayer for anyone. It could be someone you felt needed that prayer. Just say a prayer for that person, not just for yourself. Because when you say a prayer for yourself, obviously, you're being selfish. But if you also say, look, no harm being selfish, you also say a prayer for someone else. That'll give you real value, I think.
So when I said prayer, I just want to clarify.
Yes.
I didn't mean asking for something.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So
that is good.
Prayer is just a conversation.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not implying that you meant asking. It is for our own satisfaction. Yes, Dr. Vani?
For me, I feel discipline because it's the world of where you have unwavering, like just shatter every day, stress. If you have a discipline, persistence and patience, you can achieve, you can be strong. This stress, you can achieve on the mental well-being. So I feel discipline is the most important.
Discipline. I want you to read this line, Dr. Vani. I will let you read it. Because this is my notes, right? I will let Dr. Vani read this line. Dr. Vani, this second last line, can you read it loud and clear?
Well-being is not a destination, it is discipline. That's good.
So I was coming to that and I've got that in my notes. So thank you for reinforcing my thoughts as well. Dr. Harish.
I think most of the things have been covered. I agree with all of them.
But sorry to interrupt, but that's one of the problems when the mic comes to the last person and most things are already covered. But there's something else. So, sir, please.
I'll probably talk about well-being with regards to eating well, exercise. Those two things are quite important. I think everybody would agree on that. What you eat is what you are, and your well-being depends on that. Exercise also. I practice this in my work. I always tell my clients to do these things. Medications are important, but they have to exercise every day, if possible, at least 5 times a week. Meditation, this is what Girish talked about. I just put it in simple terms because my patients are from various backgrounds. So I'll talk about, usually I say mindfulness, and I ask them to start meditation for 10 minutes. It's very hard to most of the mental health patients, but that can be applied to everybody. I ask them to start the day with 10 minutes meditation where they do whatever. There are so many YouTube apps and other things. People who are spiritual or prayers, that's also the same. So basically, scientifically, when I'm talking, I talk about just give the 10 minutes for you. You might find it hard to focus for 10 minutes. Start with whatever, few seconds, couple of minutes. This I learned, obviously, there is a lot of evidence, but this I learned from many of my clients, and including my son, actually. He did say during his exams, year 12 exams, he said that he used to meditate. I never asked him to do it, but he said it helped him focus better. So I've tested it out. Many of the clients whom I advise meditation, specifically I do ADHD work, and patients really struggle to focus. And with the medication, I tell them do also meditation, and they come back and say it works. They find various apps. I don't tell them do yoga or do anything specific to any religion or anything. I just ask them, you can do yoga if you want. Most of them do it. And along with that comes meditation, and quite effective. And I think I'm stealing that from you, just giving a different touch, but yeah, meditation. Thank you.
Yes. Wanting to add one word, e-fasting. Take iPhone 1 day a week off completely.
Just go Google Ritesh Chugh, go to Google, type Ritesh Chugh and type e-fasting. My article will come up. You can read it tonight. Okay, thank you. So, we heard 5 different words. How many of you remember the 5 words? I will come to you. Sorry, I will come. Let me, you remember those 5 things? You remember the 5? No, I didn't hear food. Sorry, I didn't hear food. Huh? Meditation. He was focused on meditation. Okay, I was writing the main points. He stopped on meditation because that was his main focus as well. Now, usually, we humans tend to forget things. We want things to be made easy for us to remember. As an educator, I use something called mnemonics. Mnemonic means something that you can remember, which means usually the first letter of the word. I made a mnemonic for you to remember. Sam PD. Sam. Remember Uncle Sam? Remember PD, Police Department. Sam PD. Will you remember that? If you're going to forget, write it on your phone. Sam PD, which means sleep, ambition, meditation, prayer, and discipline. Please remember Sam PD. Sam's your Uncle Sam, PD is your police department. Now, let me open the floor to the audience. Does anyone have questions? Questions, anyone? Questions? Sorry, please raise your hand. I'm going to come to you. Questions, please. Who's got a question? Don't feel shy. You know, you are the one who's missing out by not asking a question. No one else misses out. Yes.
Just telling that whenever we go these our points to the panelist day, what I'm realizing is I'm a volleyball player.
Yep.
And whenever I go to the volleyball ground, I spend about 3 hours. During that time, I don't know how fast the time goes. That I more or less I take as a meditation for myself.
Okay.
Right? And then whenever I jump over there, play over there, I feel very hungry that food and everything comes in there. Exercise, no matter, already there. That's why, my opinion, if you play that your favorite game, not by force, not by other people telling. If you go that way, probably you can catch up with our.
Okay, excellent.
That's what I want to say.
So I think the gentleman here says that you should really try and do something you enjoy. Although he seems to be focusing on sport. But look, anything for that matter that you do, you enjoy, time just flies by. It's like flicking through your phone Instagram feed, right? Those 5, 10, 15 minutes become longer and longer because you are enjoying it. It's the same. If you enjoy anything that you're doing, sport in your case, well, thank you. Good point. I did see another hand go up in the air. So, yep.
Jai Sriman Narayana. Swami, I wanted to ask about fear. We have got fear for everything. Starting from being a childhood and growing up, we have a lot of fears throughout our life. I think fear is one of the factors that we have to address starting from the childhood, so we can be fearless, and that will relieve all our stress. Swamiji's wisdom will be appreciated.
Swamyji, I didn't come to you so far, right? Because I thought we'll hear from the experts. They were giving a 360-degree view. I know Swamyji is the biggest expert here. I was going to come to you. But I will still not come to you because I don't think I want you to answer that question. I'm going to ask a psychiatrist for a moment. No, I will come. Just bear with me, please. I will come. I'm trying to find a link. So,
rephrase the question.
Fear. What should we do about fear?
See, I'll answer it in a kind of more of a medical scientific way, what a psychologist would do. It's not a medical question. Fear, like anything, you have to challenge it. What a psychologist do is we usually use a therapy method called cognitive behavioral therapy. I've used the word cognitive too many times. In simple words, it means your thoughts. Fear is nothing but a thought. So you have to challenge your thoughts and look at what evidence is there. You have a fear of failure or whatever. Fear is a common thing from even childhood of failing in exams and other things. If you're doing well, if you're still fearful, there's no evidence. The same way, you challenge the fear. What is the fear? How do you know that is true? like nobody agrees with that, then that is just like a false alarm in your brain. Like how, I think there was a movie about false alarm or something like 3 Idiots or something, not 3 Idiots. There was a movie on that, wrong signal or something. In the same way, fear is a wrong signal you get in a brain. If there's no evidence about it, you just like think about positive things and overcome it. Yeah.
Thank you. Swamyji, I think it's a time now to connect science and spirituality. We are hearing a lot of scientific views, I think. But underlying our science, there has always been spirituality, always, for thousands of years. I mean, I don't have that knowledge, I don't have knowledge of spirituality. But when I came up with SAM PD, someone asked a question about fear, we were talking about digital mindfulness. So I think I will let you please answer that question about fear. Should spirituality be addressed or seen as an activity which is driven by fear? That is very important. A lot of people I've seen will say, well, I'm spiritual, but in their mind there is more of a fear. So should it be driven through that fear, Swamyji? Start his speech.
Ask him to speak on his speech.
Okay, I will. Okay.
All the scholarly panel presented now before us. And of course we learned a lot from these great doctors and scholars. And so happy for that. First of all, I'd like to say with our Mr. Ritesh, well-being starts when we know our limits. When we enlighten people with their own limitations. Now for us, time is up to 9. We have to leave the room by 9, and it is already 8:30. So, if at all we know our own limits, there is no question of stress, there is no question of fear, there is no question of sleeplessness, there is no question of under-nurturing, and well-being comes on its own. I'd like to tell you, well-being, when we say, it's a collective good, right? Well-being. You have different organs in your body. Each organ is different. Functioning is different. Size is different. But each organ knows its own limit. So you are happy. They are also happy. If you over-exercise, I think you have to feel the pain. And if you intrude into the activity of other organs, you will be in trouble. Suppose if nose is upset with the mouth, because it's only the mouth eating everything. Nothing is fed to the nose. And nose is pretty much upset with the mouth and says, you are eating everything. You are drinking everything. Nothing for me. And then it is the doctors who have to help them by keeping 2 pipes through the nostrils, which is not really required, isn't it? We don't expect such kind of things to happen. So, nose needs to know its own limit. Mouth needs to know its own limit too. And so also other organs. Each one is assigned with a responsibility, with a work. And if you know how to manage that work perfect, I think there is no question of conflict, there is no question of strain or stress. And do you know what does it mean really by stress? Because I heard even my little young boys also said that they have stress. And a little girl said they do have some kind of stress. What does it mean by stress? I don't know what does it mean by stress. What is the stress? What is stress? I give you a simple definition. Should I? Sorry, doctors. There is a hole like this, and somebody asked you to insert in that. And you took it and put it like this, and started inserting that into that. Will it go? What happens? This pains and this also pains. You do any amount of effort, it doesn't go. Stress. Simple thing, just turn and it's gone. Free from stress. So basically, not knowing how to deal with the situation is what we call stress. The simple solution, and teach them how to deal with it. Done? That's where we need the suggestions from the experts, experiences, sharing, what we call the knowledge gain, right? We know once a boy from a village is holding a big long stick on his back, like they hold like this, right? In villages, and they go like this. It is not for the purpose anyway. So he was holding a stick like this on his shoulders and was just coming back home from his work. And he wanted to just enter the room because the door is having only 3 feet of width and his stick is 6 feet. So he was holding like this and just wanted to enter the door. He could not. He wanted to apply all his energy. Gone back, came running, just wanted to enter. He hit his back, neck. And again he was doing the same thing. And great experienced persons like our panelists here saw the boy and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "There is some devil stopping me from entering my home." And then the doctor said, or probably the well-wisher said, "It's okay. I say something, please do it." He said, "Yes, sir. Keep the stick straight and just try now." Simple. Instead of like this, you said keep it like this. Simply just he entered the room. And then he came to the person and said, "Probably you are God. You made my job easy. Probably you must know some mantra. Drive out the evil. Tell me that mantra, please." What mantra is there? What is the mantra there? Nothing. Literally nothing. There is no spirituality involved in that. There is no meditation involved in that. And there is no other elements involved in that. But very simple things, how to deal with the situation. Whether you have to deal like this, you have to deal like this. Simple thing. Whether you have to go like this, or you have to turn and go like this. So simple. You understand what I mean? Life is so simple. As a matter of fact, life is pretty simple. We make it complex.
So is it common sense?
It's not just common sense, it is the guidance. It is the guidance from parents, from the mentors, from the peers, and from the scriptures. So if you have proper guidance right from the beginning, I think you will be always ahead of anything. And if such things are not available, then you start feeling some kind of things. There will be many physiological, neurological, and mental issues for sure when you are not able to address the issue. And whatever we see medically, they are only trying to address the reactions that occur, but not the problem that raises them. We see the ripples, but what is the reason to start those things? Whether it's neurological or whether it is something else. So, our scriptures, or what you call the so-called religion, is here to give us a proper way how to deal with the situation. And if you are able to understand that, how to address the situations, I think there will be no issues at all. Things go pretty common, very cool. People living in villages who are hardworking, either they may be farmers or homemakers, they normally won't have any kind of issues. They lead their life. Probably, many people I saw live for 100, 110, 120 years with no issues. Even at that age, they're able to read the book without spectacles. And they're able to hear without a support. And they're able to walk on their own. They wash their own clothes. They cook their own food. And they're pretty much okay. I saw many people like that because they live a very normal, simple life. The more we think that we are educated, the more we are making our lives more and more complicated. Because the more we are educated, we are going away from the nature. The more you are against the nature, the more you are landing in troubles. Go with the nature, you are always safe. Do you have experience of any animals feeling stress? Any birds? No. They are happy. Because they live with nature. Don't think they don't have any family. They do have families. They do have their own friends and circles, but still they don't have any psychiatrist to consult, any neurologist to treat on them, and they lead the full life without any issues, without any pharma people to involve, without any medicines and with no doctors. Reason being, they know the purpose of the life. Unfortunately, the more educated we are, the more we forget the purpose of the life that causes all sorts of not only just physical, mental, and intellectual diseases. So before just getting into that, I would like to ask you a simple question. What does it mean by life? My life is stressful. My life is enjoyable. My life is peaceful. My life is pretty stressy and so on. What does it mean by life? Anybody?
Body, I mean myself.
Body? Mind is there. Body is there.
The energy personified.
Do you call it life?
Prana. Prana.
Prana. Wow. People say life is gone and there is life. What does it mean?
It's a form of energy. What is that?
When we do pranayama, we stop breathing. Yeah. I'll give you a definition. See whether it fits or not. For everyone. Not only to you and I, but to everything, wherever you see the life. Or you say that there is life. It is a journey of a soul through a body. Journey of a soul through a body. You call it life. When the soul ended its journey, you say life is gone. When the soul did not enter, then life did not start. Whether soul is visible or not, that's a different question. I'm not talking about that. Because there are so many invisible objects, so many invisible things that play variety of roles. So my point is, it's a journey of a soul through a body. But when the journey started, and where? Journey starts when the small cell is formed in the man's body. And when it enters the woman's womb, and when it starts forming a zygote, and then life started expanding. But journey of the soul started already in a cell. And during the course of the pregnancy, then it takes a body in a full form, but body is already there. When it entered the cell, then the body is already formed, just like a seed. But as the seed grows in the form of a tree, thus the body is formed with hands, legs, head, different limbs, and vital organs in the body, etc. But it started functioning on its own when you declare date of birth. Till then it doesn't function. It's dependable. But the function starts on its own when the umbilical cord is cut and started breathing on one's own, started using the mouth one's own, then you declare it as a date of birth. Otherwise you would have given the date of birth when the pregnancy is decided. Right? But you are not giving it as date of birth. When the individuality started, then you are saying that it is date of birth. So, that is the journey started. For all of us, I think the journey started. We are on the journey now. We are on the move. For some, it's just 15 years. For some, it is 10. For some, it is 16. For some, it is 17 miles. We made our journey. We don't know when the last mile of this journey is. But for sure, we have to stop this journey one day. Yes? Because we are all with the return tickets in hand. But we don't know when. So, till then, you have to continue the journey. But when you call it a journey, and the waters, we don't know whether it is fair waters or rough waters, whether it is according to the current of the flow or against the currents. We don't know that. But the journey is on. And there are variety of, currents and waves. But during that time, I think you have to navigate the boat properly. Having started the journey, you need to know how to navigate. It's only the one species doesn't know how to navigate. That's man. Thinking blessed with a wonderful brain, but doesn't know how to navigate. Birds know how to navigate. Because in our ashram in Hyderabad, we see small sparrows, very small golden sparrows. I was so surprised to see them. There is a coconut tree, and a small sparrow, it comes, no hands, only 2 legs, and only a beak. And with that, it cuts the leaf and again creates a nest, and so beautifully protects the eggs and hatches them and makes babies and goes on its own. And who taught it? We don't know. There is no stress or strain for that. And there is no fear also for that. Because the bird knows that life is a journey. And there are so many things happen in between, and we need to face them. For us, the human beings, it is necessary to teach how to face those tides. If it is a low tide, how to face it? If it is a high tide, how to face it? You tell me. If you faced a high tide in the waters, what do? Run away. The tide is faster than you. Do you know the tsunami happened in 2005? Started in Indonesia, hit the southern part of India, Madras, in 15 minutes. From Indonesia, He travelled and hit Madras in just 15 minutes. Satellites are there, telephones are there, but before the communication really happened, it already did its job and went back. Then everyone started seeing that. So tide is faster than you. You can't run away from it. Simple logic. When the tide is high, bow before that. Don't be arrogant. Just bow before that. It passes over you. So simple. You need not just face it with a stand gun. Just simply bow before that. Be humble. Accept its greatness. And accept your incapability to face it. Because we know so many big trunk trees, when they want to show their arrogance and stand firm, they will thrown out. We saw that in Golden Age. Gold Coast, yeah. How beautiful it was once upon a time. But now what is the fate of it now, today? Did you expect that to happen? There were so many cyclones, right? But the tide is so powerful, remember that. I take an example only to say that the tides are very powerful. There, your medicine, your knowledge, your intellectual ability doesn't make any sense. All that you need to simply bow before that tide, and it will pass away. Anything will pass away. So even this will pass away. But when it is a low tide, what do? Jump up. Simple. Then it will be passing. And then you are just stable there, in your own place. This is only the law of the life. So there are always tides. Remember, waves is a part of the life. Without them, life becomes chaos. If there are no waves in the waters, it is stagnated, spoiled water. They make it strong. They make the water lively, energetic. So also the tides you face in the life are always necessary. Whether it is a wave of a social media, whether it is a wave of a GP, whether it is a wave of a, what you call, jeans, or hippie movement. All these are waves in the society. They come, they go. How you handle during the times with those things is all awareness. So, before entering waters, you need to teach the person who will be in the boat how to face the tides. So also for a person, for a man, for a human, it is needed to teach how to face the tides of the life, whether they are big or strong or small. Unfortunately, the education we have today is accept that everything is there. If the boat turns down, what to do? If it is broken, what to do? These things are easy, but not teaching how to face the tides. This is what is necessary. And I talked about the fear. I talked about the stress. When you want to face, when you want to navigate the boat, you need strength, so eat well, and you need sufficient rest, sleep well, but be modest. Be modest. Because doctors said sleep well. So I sleep at 7 in the evening and wake up at 10 in the morning. I think it's not a good idea. Because doctor said eat well, and then I keep always grazing and grazing and grazing. It's not a good idea. This is what Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the life science. Yuktahara viharasya yuktachestasya karmasu yuktasvapna avabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Dukkhaha, we don't want any pains and problems. Isn't it what we all want? Dukkhaha, a state of dukkhaha we need. No sorrows, no pains. We want a state of life like that, always joy, always happy. There is of course a difference between joy and happy and pleasure, right? But let us keep all of them, the pleasure, happy and joy, all in one category. But still when you want that, you want such a kind of state, you need to have a kind of yoga. Yoga not just doing the physical exercises or just breathing exercises. Connect yourself with the goal of your life. When you are in the boat, you need to know where you are navigating the boat, right? Without knowing the goal, if you start your journey, I think you will be in trouble. Then you have to contact the doctor. You took the car and came out of the garage, and your friend came and asked, "Hey, where are you going?" And you say, "I don't know." But you started the vehicle. That means you are in trouble. You need to know the goal. Because you know the goal is this hall, you reach here safe. And if you do not have a goal, you will be lost. I have seen many students, maybe they are in the schools or in even colleges and in universities. I often ask them, "What's your goal?" "Still, I'm not sure. Long way to go. Only just I'm 11. Only just I joined the university. I'm just first year. So long way to go to decide the goal." I was very much surprised to hear such a kind of answer. Because you are already on the journey. You are already with the vehicle on the road, on the highway. Yes or no? And there are vehicles front and forth. And there is a limit also on the road. It is 80, 90, 100. And you have to maintain that. And if you say, "I want to drive 90, I want to only drive 60. What happens? There is someone behind, started hanging, kind. And you want to drive, 120. Again you will be in trouble. So, when you are on the journey, until and otherwise you have a goal of your own, maybe you are small kid, or maybe you are totally ripened. Still you need to have a goal of your own. Maybe it is temporary, a short term, or a long term. You need to have a goal. Tell me, what is the goal of the life? If you achieve that goal, or if you are on the path of that goal, you always feel happy. No matter where you are in. Whether you are in a big bungalow, you are in a big costly car, or you are surrounded by so many people, and probably you won't feel happy. Tell me what's the goal of the life for all. I'm not just talking about the human guys. I'm not talking about the Indian diaspora. I'm talking about the common human being. Let them belong to any religion. That's okay.
Make most of the opportunity that God gave you.
Find a purpose.
You can use it to the extent possible when you know the goal. If you know the goal is 100 meters of run, then you can put your energy there. You can put your best in achieving that 100 meters run. And if you have no goal, you stop running here and there and waste your energy. And happiness, when we say simply, for a gambler, I think gambling is the happiest thing. For a drunkard, consuming alcohol is the happiest thing. Happiness comes from so many things, right? But what is the purpose of the journey you started, you are blessed with? Why I am asking you guys, all other spirits know their goals probably. A tree knows my purpose of the life is giving shade and taking the carbon dioxide and supporting the lives that come to me, and that's all it is. And a tree started its life and standing for it. Bird standing for that. Animal standing for that. What about we, the human beings? That is the biggest problem. Serving the mankind. So take care of humans. You can cut the trees, contaminate the water, and then pollute the air and spoil the soil, and you can do all sorts of nonsense things. And because you want to serve the humankind. That's the biggest problem now we are facing today. But no other animals do so, no birds do so, no trees. Only human beings do it. Because serving humankind became our goal, and there was a big, big, big disaster. And even the snow mountains are melting. That is where our organization initially showed the goal, like जन सेवा ही जनार्दन सेवा है नहीं है. Serving humanity is service to God. No. We deny that. Rather, we condemn that. You know why? Because it's the man who is the culprit of all these disasters, all these calamities. Yes or no? And we know very well, can we survive without trees? Can we survive without the water? Can we survive without the air? And who is filling the air with monoxides and chlorofluorocarbons, etc.? Nature. Are we? Say proudly, don't throw the blame on nature. Nature never does it. Nature supported the life since immemorial, millennia. But it is the human who started creating such kind of gases and created the big breach in the ozone as big as your continent. Yes? So, we are the culprits. Knowing that without that we can't survive, still we spoil it. no other creatures do so. So they are all okay. We are not okay. We need to have some kind of instruction now. That's not serving humanity, is serving God. Serve all beings as service to God. Whether you are a spiritual guy or not, I am not bothered. You may be an atheist or some belonging to some religion, that's okay. I am not bothered with it. But you need to know that there is some power behind all these things that controls everything. Even when you are sleeping, responsible for the respiratory system, supplying blood to all parts of your body and pumping your heart. Some power, call it God, call it something. But that's there. There's there behind you. There's there behind a small insect. There's there behind a life that exists even in a plant. Even in stones that exist. So there are movements between the electrons and protons even in there. Let people call it God, there's nothing wrong in it, right? So, taking care of that, you need to take care of everything. As initially I mentioned, when you have different organs in a body, take care of each organ. And don't try to influence the other. Don't try to intrude into the activities of others. And don't try to dominate other parts of the body. Don't try to insult any part of the body. There are some excretional organs of the body. Do you insult them? Can you survive without them? So no part of a body having lesser importance, understand? And no part is superior than the other. Let the mind be here or here. I don't mind. But for me, mind is in every inch of your body, every micron of your body. I have my mind. I need to mind it. I need to take care of them. Let the hair fall again and again. I need to take care of the existing hair. The nails are more cut to grow, but I need to take care of them. Because every part is pretty important in my body. I need to take care of all those parts so that I am happy. If you take it at a macro level, like universe, and you are only just a tiny organ of this body, why for your own sake you are spoiling the system of the others? Don't do that. And you are unfortunately missing the tree for the sake of a leaf. Don't do that. So, understand that you are a part and your existence depends upon all other parts. Take care of them, understand them, and accordingly start working. And your duty is to share things with them. Sharing is the art of life. Yes or no? Sharing is the art of life. If you do not understand that, imagine what happens. There is a thorn hit your foot, and your eyes never want to respond, and your hand doesn't want to help that, and your mouth says, thorn is with you, why should I call for help? You call if you want. Your mouth didn't want to support that. Your mouth didn't want to share the pain of the foot, and your hand doesn't want to support that. and your eyes doesn't want to shed tears for the pain, that means what? What does it say? That guy is seriously diabetic. Because one part eats and another part doesn't want to share. Whether it's joy or pain. Is it good? Very dangerous. Even his heart stops, he may not be able to perceive that. So my friends, remember, such things shouldn't happen. For that, the art of sharing is the art of the life. Sharing is the art of life. Must be taught right from the childhood to the baby. Other creatures are doing it. Why should we ignore that? Why are not we sharing that ideology with our children? Children do feel stress. Even under 13 also, there are many children who are pretty much stressed when parents are fighting with each other. When parents are not taking proper care. When they develop so much in their mind, right from the childhood. So, body has its own mechanism. Every cell of the body has its own mechanism, and for which, as our doctors wonderfully said, food is the cause for everything. Food supports the body. Food supports your organs. Food supports your mind. Food supports your intellect. So food supports the entire system of the life at different levels. And our doctors wonderfully said, as you nurture, thus you give. Give proper food. Give sattvic food. And all the systems work well. And you can probably lead a fair life. There will be definitely tides. Still, you are not scared of those tides because you are taught properly. You will be able to navigate through the tides because you have something to share, having a goal of your life. What is the goal of the life? Sharing. Sharing is the goal of the life. That what we always say, sharing is the art of life. And if you do not know that, I think probably your education misleading you. But unfortunately today in our school books, except that element, rest of the things are pretty much there. So this is where the Vedic people back in Bharat play a key role, probably used to play a key role. When they have the joint family system, some person always is there to guide the generation, the children, to teach him how to navigate the boat, how to live the life, how to share the things. Right? So, I think proper guidance is very, very important, and probably most of you might have experienced. And if there is a good family behind to guide them at different levels, those children always grow responsible. And also they are very loyal, at the same time brighter also in their career. If such guidance is not there, because nowadays people think, no, we should not interfere in the privacy of those children. Why do you privacy that you provide to the children? do they come to a conclusion in their small span of life? So, children, you need not instruct the children. My point is, you need to understand, don't instruct the children, don't force the children, but enlighten them with the facts of the life. Then they will be able to understand, because children nowadays are so clever. Children are so wise. When the parents are just watching the cell phone and ask the children to study properly, they won't. For the sake of children, parents first start having a goal, knowing to navigate, and then start living a life. Because the journey of the soul definitely comes to an end. And before ending, see that you reach the goal. Somewhere the boat is broken. I think you lost the very purpose. And this body, what we possess, we know very well, it's pretty costly. No millions or billions match this body, every part of this body. No AI will be able to replace this body. So this body is more precious than the AI. And it's a very, very powerful robot, but with life. So realize and then respond accordingly should be the way. I think that unlocks the life. That makes our journey easy and faster. Right? But we apply this in other occasions, not to our own life. Let us start applying this. We know the people who are in the boats. When there are positive winds, then they raise the cloth. And then the boat goes fast. When there are rough winds, then they put it down and then try to just navigate it in a better way. We know all these things, but we need to apply that. There is a saying, if you wish, it's about writing. In olden days, the who taught the shorthand, he has given an wonderful lesson. The Pittsman is called Pittsman. In 121 lesson, he says, if you wish to write at a high rate, you must master the rules so as to follow them fully and be able to apply them on all occasions, which is very important. Some people know many things, but they don't want to apply them in their life. They are pretty dangerous guys. Not knowing is a good thing. Knowing and not applying is a very, very dangerous thing. So, let us start first knowing about the life and about the goal, and then start applying that. And if we start doing this, I think our children feel happy and elders feel happy, and we can see a happier society. Jai Shri.
So Swamyji, well-being starts when we know our limits. He focused on sharing, he focused on sattvic food, but I think for me the takeaway was today's discussion actually serves as a catalyst not only for reflection but also for action. Because a lot of things that Swamyji mentioned and our panelists mentioned were action-oriented items. So I encourage everyone to reflect on these items. And with that, I'm going to invite Deepti ji to say a word of thanks. And Deepti ji, over to you. Thank you.
Dr. Girish Nair, thank you so much for your time. Swamyji will. Dr. Srinivas Raju Yerra. Dr. Raju Adhikari. Dr. Vani Pedi. Dr. Harish Chikana. Love from Melbourne University. Love from Melbourne University. Thank you so much for providing us the excellent venue and support us with the event arrangements. Thank you. Dr. Ritesh ji, thank you for leading the evening with such a grace and enthusiasm. Thank you so much. Jai Shriman Narayana. Good evening to all our distinguished guests, respected elders, dedicated volunteers, and most importantly, our vibrant youth gathered here today. It's an honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of everyone present here. First and foremost, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to His Holiness Sri 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 Tridandi Sriman Narayana Ramanuja Chinna Jeeyar Swamyji. Your unwavering dedication to nurturing minds, young minds, empowering youth, and providing platform for the growth is deeply appreciated. Your wisdom continues to guide and inspire us all. A sincere thank you to our esteemed chief guest, Minister of Corrections and Minister of Youth Justice, for their gracious presence and words. We also extend our gratitude to Dr. Girish Nair, Dr. Srinivas Raju Yerra, Dr. Raju Adhikari, Dr. Harish Chikkana, and Dr. Vani Peddi for sharing their valuable insights and advice, which have truly inspired our youth. Our heartfelt thanks to our wonderful facilitator, Dr. Hitesh Shah, for leading the evening with such a grace, enthusiasm, and engaging the audience. Thank you, Love from University of Melbourne, for providing us the excellent venue. We are grateful to Snack India for the delightful sweets and our amazing JET volunteers for preparing a delicious dinner with love and care. We also acknowledge the tireless efforts of all the organizers, volunteers, and support staff who have worked hard behind the scenes to make this event a resounding success. Your dedication and commitment have not gone unnoticed. To our young participant, thank you so much for your energy, enthusiasm, and a wholehearted involvement. You are the heartbeat of today's program and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. In our journey of seeking wisdom and clarity, we often have many questions to help us guide. We have Acharya app. Please download the app, and there are many answers to your questions. Let's continue to work together towards Sri 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 Swamiji's mission, serve all beings as service to God. We may continue to inspire, uplift, and support everyone in this noble path. Thank you again. Jai Shriman Narayana. There are food boxes outside. If you can please collect them on your way, that would be great. Our volunteers has prepared some yummy dinner for you all. Thank you. Jai Shriman Narayana. Dr. Meera Joshi ji, Swami Varu would like to felicitate you. Thank you.
My husband could meet Harish. Oh, no, okay. Nice and nice.
Thank you, sir. Well done to you too. Yeah, it's kind of a very difficult. So nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I'm just
Yeah.
I was not just came to attend. Made to sit here. I'm not a
कैसे भाई साहब? ठीक है सर? I think this.
Where is that?
बोला तू कहाँ घर जा रहा है अभी?
नहीं उड़ंगा जा रहा हूँ शाम के साथ मेलबर्न जा
शिवपाल जी नमस्कार, कैसे हैं?
बहुत बढ़िया भाई, बात करने वाला था, बात कर रहे थे बोलते हैं।
और कैसे चल रहा है? यहीं हो?
स्वामी जी के साथ आया।
अच्छा, ओके।